Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, I'm here presenting to you guys today about my project and my research. So before I get started, please let me introduce myself first. So my full name is Lastkey Tabina Tantra, but you can call me Tabina or Ina for short. I'm from 7.2 and my attendance list is number 20. Now let's get started. So the title of my project is A Sustainable Lifestyle Through Minimalism. First off, I will be explaining about the background. Okay, so at the very start, I'm gonna explain at the very start. Humans have a bunch of components in their respective lives, and each component have their own task of fulfilling humans' needs. And one of the components is desires. We have a task of causing likes and dislikes in every individual. You see, desire could lead people into doing positive and negative actions. So how do we prevent or avoid people from doing negative actions? Well, the answer is to implement a sustainable lifestyle. But how do we start a sustainable lifestyle? It is to make minimalism as our mindset. Now, moving on to the research questions. I have two research questions here. The first one says, how are the ways to implement a sustainable lifestyle through minimalism? And the second one says, why does minimalism is the so-called perfect way to implement a sustainable lifestyle? Now, before I'll answer these two questions, I will be explaining about the connection between my research and one of the subjects here. I choose science subject. Oh, here is it. Now, consuming minimalism as a mindset is an action where a person will withdraw themselves from a desire that could lead them into doing negative actions. Likewise, it will give an uncountable impact to themselves as an honor of implementing a sustainable lifestyle through minimalism. Now, accordingly, we will learn about atoms and ions as another science material. At present, both minimalism and atoms have similarities, which will be a connection between the two. Like atoms having electrons in their outermost part of their shells, making it easily released from themselves. And also, they've become fully positive charge since electrons is the negative charge. Much more is the minimalism process, where we would put desires that are unuseful for ourselves in our outermost part of ourselves, so that it's easily released from ourselves. For example, it's like you have a list of things that you need in life. The number one is a need. Second is what, third is what, and fourth is what. And what you need to put in the very last number is that unuseful desires. Now, I'm gonna be answering the questions I've mentioned before in conclusion. Okay. So the first question says, how are the ways to implement a sustainable lifestyle through minimalism? The answer is certainly lots of ways to implement a sustainable lifestyle, ain't it? But there's one way that represents the whole point of minimalism, of sustainable lifestyle, namely the minimalism mindset. Well, surely the first thing that pops up in your mind when you're hearing the word minimalist is to live in a frugal living, which seems to be not true, because minimalism is not just about frugal living. It's all about making all right decisions in your life. And now I'm going to be answering the second question, who says, why does minimalism is the so-called perfect way to implement a sustainable lifestyle? The answer is, minimalism mindset is indeed an excellent way to implement a sustainable lifestyle. Well, some of you might have wondered why, and just now I will be explaining the considerations. So, minimalism, as these days were founded that lots of people are in struggle of making decisions wisely, specifically at economic aspects. People were discovered that they cannot tell which is a need and which is a desire. And they ended up just putting something over something without knowing which is which. Like they don't know which is desire, which is a need. So they just put whatever they want to put. And that is wrong, terribly wrong. And so with a minimalism mindset, we could start to practice about making decisions wisely without making any mistakes in life. That's all about minimalism mindset. Okay, that's all.
Tabina,
Yes.
so it's very good presentation. I think that you also prepare everything well.
Yes.
You also have a good pronunciation in every word that you explain to me. So I would like to give you several questions. First is give your opinion about someone or maybe your friends who imitate any kinds of viral things and they would like to buy it and use it like the friends.
Yes.
They only want to buy something just because of it is a viral. So give your opinion about that. And then the second is how do you utilize your social media to inform them that having minimalist lifestyle is important for us, especially for students.
So, because the first question that Ma'am Tina asked me is about what is my opinion about my friends who buys things that are not too worth it, but they buy it because it's viral. Well, in my opinion, I think it's supposed to be not like that because buying things, well, wasting time and money for something worthless is terribly wrong. So you can always use that time and money for something better, and that is representing the sustainable lifestyle through minimalism. And the second question is how do we inform people in social media about how important minimalism mindset is to us students? Well, we could always make small little contents that inform them how useful minimalism mindset is to them, because as these days students, especially us teenagers, are founded that they were always wasting time and money on something unuseful, and that is also wrong. Yes, that's my answer, ma'am.
Then the next question is how do you connect with the civic material, the minimalist theory on mindset and the civic material? What is the connection both of them?
Okay. So because the question is what is my connection? What is the connection between my project and the civics material is this. Well, I picked the 1945 Constitution material in civics. So the connection between the two is that to implement a sustainable lifestyle, the minimalism mindset represents the whole point of sustainable lifestyle. And so in the 1945 Constitution, it needs a full considerations of making it. So it's the same thing that they do in the past. Our historical characters in the past who made the 1945 constitutions also are being very careful on making their decisions to make the 1945 constitutions. And that is the same with us implementing minimalism mindset in our daily life.
Thank you for your explanation. And then the next question is, have you applied the minimalist mindset in your daily life?
Oh.
And then what is the result? Yeah. And then do you have any tricks to have a minimalist mindset? Because we think that having a minimalist lifestyle is not easy, right?
Yeah.
And we have to try ourselves. Maybe you can share your tricks so your friend will imitate you, become or having a minimalist mindset.
Okay, so the question is about, have I applied this minimalism mindset to myself, and what is the result, and what are the tips to implement this minimalism mindset, because I know it wouldn't be considered as an ease. So first, I'll answer the first questions. I've recently applied this mindset to myself that I don't need to buy things that are worthless to me, except if I really, really need that something, so I buy it. And the result is I save up pretty good money. And so the tips are, you can always think about using that money or that time for something better. So you don't need to waste that time or money to something that you want for just now and not for a better future. That's it.
And then some tricks.
Yeah, some tips is just, you just always need that you can use that time or money for a better things in the future.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Close for
Yes.
your presentation.
Okay, that's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.